depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to have a little bit of a chat about Brilliant Stars, because it seems like Brilliant Stars might have lower stock when it's released than we were expecting. I'm not talking about it's going to be impossible to find or anything like that, but I absolutely am talking about get your pre-orders in, because it might be harder to find than we are expecting. Walking into a store on release date might leave you a little bit, well, a little bit sad. Now, I've been talking to a bunch of stores, and I don't have exact numbers for you. And when I'm talking stores, the ones who are sharing numbers with me, they're going to be remaining anonymous. So when I'm giving out other stores, they're just kind of sharing general information, having a chat about what's been selling and things of that nature. But I've been chatting to a couple of stores lately, and the general idea I'm getting is that Fusion Strike generally was a little bit lower on allocation than other usual sets. So, for instance, I heard stores were getting somewhere in the region of 60% of what they usually do. So their stock of Fusion Strike was around about 60% of what would generally be expected. So if you were expecting 100 cases, you would get 60 cases instead, which is not ideal. Although, to be fair, I did tell you the other day, Fusion Strike has been selling a little bit lower than some of the other sets around, so it's not actually been quite so bad for Fusion Strike. And Fusion Strike, there were quick restocks, which I think did really, really help. Fusion Strike has not been a difficult set to get hold of. It's been in stock quite nicely. But one of the reasons for that, I've been told by a bunch of stores, there were very quick restocks. So although Fusion Strike did come in a little bit lower than normal, quite a bit lower than normal, some stores were able to get restocks very, very quickly, which obviously helped to mitigate. However, when it comes to Brilliant Stars, I'm having some stores telling me that they're able to order about 2/3 of what they had for Fusion Strike, or to put it normally, 40% of what they would normally order for a regular set. Now, at the moment, allocations for Brilliant Stars have not come in, so we don't know exactly what stores are getting, and incidentally, that is why I gave you my Don't Panic video the other day. There's a reason I'm bringing this video now, and that is because allocations aren't in, so pre-orders you have to be a little bit careful. I have already gone and ordered 3-pack blisters from Smith's over in the UK, because I do not want to miss out on those wonderful Okacheke artwork of the Glaceon and Leafeon. They are too gosh darn good. But Smiths are a little bit different. They do tend to put their pre-orders up earlier than others, but I think what they tend to do is put up smaller numbers that they know they're going to be able to fill. Might be that they have a different relationship with Pokemon due to being such a large retailer, but either way, Smiths generally tend to be very reliable even when they put their pre-orders up early. These are not the only 3-pack blisters I'm going to buy, not with those promos. I ordered 3 of them because that was the maximum I could order. I'm sure I'll get some more from other places sooner rather than later. But it seems like at launch, even if stores get everything they're going to be getting, you're looking at less than half of what they would get for a regular set. The orders are, well, to put it bluntly, lower than they would usually be. Some stores are telling me they're expecting it to be similar to Fusion Strike in terms of the amount they actually get. Other stores are worried that it's going to be a little bit lower, but like I've said, restocks for Fusion Strike came in very quickly, which really helped to mitigate the damage. If we don't see that for Brilliant Stars, and we have no way of knowing at this stage whether that will happen or not, then it will end up being quite a bit more pronounced, quite frankly. And here's the thing, and this is something that must really be borne in mind at this stage. We're getting physical tournaments back. Regional championships are currently scheduled to go ahead. Now, I'm not saying whether they actually will go ahead or not, we don't know, but the first regional is supposed to be happening over in the US in Salt Lake City on March the 18th to the 20th. And then in EU, in Liverpool, from March the 26th to the 27th. which incidentally is actually the first one with Pokemon Go. The first one in the US for Pokemon Go is happening on April Fool's Day, assuming that's not a joke. Unfortunately, for those of you asking, no, I will definitely not be at that tournament in Liverpool. I am absolutely gutted that I'm not going to be at that tournament in Liverpool. I would love to be there, but that is literally like a week after my son is due to be born, so I think trying to go to a Pokemon tournament that's about a 7-hour drive each way, maybe more, right after my son is born, that might not be the most sensible thing. So unfortunately, as much as I would love to, and ordinarily under normal circumstances, there is absolutely no way I would miss the first UK regional happening in a couple of years. Unfortunately, this is not normal circumstances. It would take something like the birth of my son to make me miss the first UK regional in a couple of years, but that is literally what's happening. So as much as I would love to be there, I can tell you now for a fact I won't be there. But of course, you might notice that Briliant Stars is due to be released on the 25th of February. And then these tournaments are kicking off at the end of March, a month later, less than a month later if you're in the US. See where we're going with this? If stock of Briliant Stars ends up being a bit low, and like I say, I noticed this the other day, and I just started asking around a whole bunch of stores that I know, and what I'm hearing is, although it doesn't look like absolute disaster scenario, it looks like there's going to be less than Fusion Strike, which was less than we would usually get, and stock is not going to be out there as much as we have got accustomed to. There were sets like Chilling Reign and Evolving Skies. That was when things really did start to get quite a bit better, where we could really get a hold of these products quite easily on release. Now, if we go back to, for instance, Vivid Voltage, that was not pretty. Vivid Voltage was a set that sold out like immediately and was a nightmare to get hold of, but then we started to get towards things like, Chilling Reign and Evolving Skies where things were a lot easier. It really doesn't look like that's going to be the case with Briliant Stars. And the problem is that if these in-person tournaments go ahead, and we don't know at this stage whether it's happening or not, well, okay, sorry, let me be clear. As it stands at the moment, they are, but a whole bunch of stuff is being cancelled, so just please keep an eye. And a lovely Will Post said it very well over on Twitter. Do not pay money for unrefundable travel or accommodation to go to anything at the moment. Pokemon tournaments, concerts, whatever it might be. I saw a friend of mine literally posting this morning about a concert that got cancelled at the last minute. I'm not saying these will, nobody knows, but I am saying don't spend loads of money on flights and hotel if you don't know for an absolute fact it's going ahead, unless it's refundable, in which case book away and then refund it if the tournament doesn't go ahead. But if we do end up with lower stock of Briliant Stars like we're expecting we might, what's going to happen for these big tournaments? You're going to have a month to scrabble and try and get these cards from Briliant Stars, and that might end up pushing the price of singles up. If you're a collector, go for it. Nobody really cares. Because you can wait. You can get them later. It's fine. I'm not saying no one cares about collectors, but I'm saying that if there's a particular card I want for my collection and all the players are going nuts trying to get singles, I'm like, maybe leave it a few weeks. But what about cards like Charizard V-Star and Arceus V-Star? Maybe they end up being really good. What about Luminion, which is literally just a reprint, ability-wise at least, of Tapu Lele, and may well be needed in a whole bunch of decks. A lot of decks are going to want to put Tapu Lele in. Now it's called Luminion. If the stock is quite low, what's that going to do to the price of Luminion moving forward? Long term, maybe nothing. Reprints will happen and all of that. Short term, yeah, you better believe the price of cards like Luminion and anything else in that set which is super playable is going to spike pretty gosh darn high, as all the players scrabble for it. And like I've said, this isn't some mystery thing where we're waiting on allocations. Allocations might make the problem worse, but as it stands at the moment, stores that I am speaking to are saying that they are not able to order as many boxes of Briliant Stars as they could of Fusion Strike. And Fusion Strike, they were not able to order as many as normal And again, it's because of the damn panic, right? And things are still a lot better than they were back a year ago. That was when things really came to a head. But that doesn't mean there aren't going to be issues, and these issues are going to be exacerbated when we get back to in real life tournaments. But this is probably the part of the video where I've given you the information and what can end up happening, and this is the part of the video where I go back to being usual Wassy and appeal for calm. Because we know that Pokemon will do reprints. We know this. We know that Pokemon will reprint products that are popular and sell out. We know that for a fact because that's what they've been doing all along. They've been doing it for the past year. So we know long term it's not going to be a big problem. We know Pokemon are going to fix it. And we know for a fact Pokemon are going to fix it because they always do. What about the short term problem? Well, the deal is this. If you are a player, great news. These tournaments are 2.5 months away, and your old pal Wassy is telling you now. So get your pre-orders in for Brilliant Stars as soon as possible. A lot of places won't have them up yet because of allocations not being out. But keep an eye, talk to your local game store, try and get some set aside when allocations do come in. Be prepared to go and buy singles sooner rather than later so you don't end up missing out. Although do remember buying singles early is not always the best idea because, well, prices tend to be higher. But you can try and balance that a little bit and try and be a little bit more prepared. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Brilliant Stars does look like it's going to have slightly lower stock than Fusion Strike, which did have lower stock than regular sets, and it did get restocked quickly. But is it going to be restocked quickly enough, Brilliant Stars that is, to make a big difference for these tournaments? I think that the landscape, especially for buying singles, is going to change pretty dramatically when these big tournaments come back. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you need to know. That's what's there. Like I've said, we don't know for a fact what's happening at the moment. All we know for a fact is what can actually be ordered. And again, stores are ordering less than they have for previous sets. That is a thing. That is real. Although we don't know exactly what the allocations are going to be. So tell me what you think about this. Tell me how excited you are for Brilliant Stars. Tell me if you're going to be heading into any of those tournaments. Tell me whatever you want to tell me. Go nuts! That'd be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.